Chapter 16.
What?
So 2009, we swore in our first black president, Barack Obama, and my financial situation turned for the worse while my inheritance was dwindling. I was stressed out because fucked up, and my money supply was fading. This year was probably one of my worst years because this is when I was going through my financial strife, and the internet cyberstalking became worse, and the freaks came out. Angela encouraged me to DMCA and remove the garbage off the internet, and was in my camp fully and helped me removing the garbage. So I started knocking down the garbage from these internet trolls, E-Bombs World, and YouTube, and other internet sites. It was great, and all of the garbage and stolen videos from my show went bye-bye. I knocked it all down and felt good about it. These bitches started to hack into my net zero account and Facebook. Going through hell, I brought it back up with Angela's help. I was grateful to Angela for her assisting me doing God's work in the removal of the shit. There was a fan who came out named Matthew Redacted in Michigan who started helping in the crusade against these trolls. So, dealing with the hell I was going through in my real world, I at least had help in combating these bitches. I finally got some of these main assholes masked, pulled off. Angry Deli, Chris Redacted in Michigan, Mike Redacted, and
Luis Calix!
these bitches were the ones who did the original hacking.
Luis Calix!
Obviously had mommy issues. Leighton Redacted, and some freak of nature gay guy by the name of Sean Brennan. There started the unhealthy obsession that these bitches had with Brennan being the ringleader. Combating with these bitches, I had a lot their channel shut down. Meanwhile, through all of the financial strife I went through, Angela spoke with me that her husband couldn't have children and she wanted to adopt. I told her, yeah, I wanted children myself to carry my father's name. Then we progressed in more conversations and I told her to come down Virginia and let's work on having kids. It was an arrangement and she was excited about the idea because she thought I was a good guy and thought she would have a strong DNA connection. She came and I met her. Really not my type, but I was grateful for her help and figured why not, let's get her to ride Space Mountain. I got cozy with her and we started screwing like rabbits. Finally, she was worn out and I felt a lot was on the line because I felt like this would be a great way to have kids through constant screwing. Meanwhile, I was working on getting a job and started working with an advertising company called Money Clip Magazine, a magazine coupon book with discounts through different restaurants. It was a coupon book with discounts on different businesses, but catering to more restaurants. Shocking news came down that I found out that Jim Redacted had passed away, and being shocked, and knew even though he had health issues was still a shock. Kevin and I went to his wake and funeral. It was sad, and people and family who knew him came out to the wake. Later on, in the middle part of 2009, I sold a bunch of advertisements and sold an ad to Golf Course Mill Quarter Golf Course. We had coupons, so we used them, and me and Kevin played golf. Filming a show about ball washing, washing your balls at the ball washer. Played golf through 18 holes and chased Bambi the deer. We worked on doing pre recorded shows and tried to build our staff and crew. Kevin, K Love Redacted, was an add on in the latter part of 2008, along with a girl named Brittany, who helped us out one full season. K Love was a friend of Vince's and was most famous for singing the perverted version of the Candyman and Mr. Bojangles. K Love had a lot of potential and was a funny dude who sang the version of the Candyman. Do I have to? We can shake the pecker, cover it with dew. Could be chocolate, it could be a Jew. The Candyman, oh, the Candyman. Candyman can, cause he sticks it in the hole and make the girls go, ooh, oh, the Candyman. One of the most funniest things that came down on the pike. I wrote the preface, but Caleb,
sang it with all his might. LOL.
he was on for 3 seasons, but became overzealous and eventually got the boot off the show. This was a period and time I was going through a lot of stress and the money was depleted. I dealt with the mortgage company to work with me on the mortgage. I wanted them to lower the principal and which entail lower the monthly amount. Finally got to a point where I couldn't get them to work with me, so I did heavy research and reading law books to combat them and to stop them from taking my house on any foreclosures. Kevin and I had a block of shows for the year, and we moved from the summer to doing shows to the winter at the public access channel. The trolls calling the shows, so we finally stopped taking calls. Then they started going through Kevin's Facebook contacts and started talking to Sarah Redacted, the old haggard bitch that spoke to the trolls about me and tried to become a wedge between Kevin and my friendship. She told the trolls my house was a mess and how I was so-called maniac and could go off the handle. Little did bitch know that she was going to be ripped to shreds on a live show. Now the trolls started to become more aggressive and out of control with their rhetoric using this old leathery hag. Kevin and I did our first show at WCLM Radio, owned and operated by a guy named Preston Brown. I called out her for being a leathery hag, and Kevin stated that he never spoke ill about me behind my back. Also debunked her for saying he would never let his girlfriends anywhere near me in fear of me going after or attacking them. He also debunked everything she and the trolls came out to say about me and my character. I topped it off saying she was an old maid that hadn't got laid since the Nixon administration. Called her out for the liar she was. After that, she severed ties with Kevin and stopped going to their weekly lunch gatherings. Just goes to prove when you try to act like that how it will backfire on your ass every time. So while we were doing shows on the public access channel, we started doing radio shows with more to come. So puts that witch's attempt in trying to break up a long-lasting friendship. While we finished up our 2009 season, I wanted to visit in trying to see if my ongoing radio work would be able to get advertisers if I was to do an ongoing weekly show at the radio station. So I tried to gain support but was only able to get the insurance doctor. Finally, I tossed that idea out and just stuck with the current situation. I was worried since the money was practically gone and tried to figure out ways to get more income coming in and perhaps rent my house out to another tenant. While all the crap was coming down with the trolls, it started getting worse and the true time where they started to gradually take the trolling to the next level. They would put up the videos back up claiming fair use while I claimed ownership of the videos in question and kept knocking them down. I started with a federal lawsuit for copyright and harassment. In this particular lawsuit, it was mixed in with fictional names, not knowing back then who the true culprits were. They fucked up by trying to counter giving us fake names. So that was the only thing I actually had at my disposal were those names, until I gradually got my names by unmasking the bitches in question. In November, during Thanksgiving in 2009, Angela came back down for the second time and had spent Thanksgiving with me. She wrote Space Mountain and wrote it until she screamed with agony, saying it's too big. She explained that her husband was impotent and couldn't perform in the bedroom and enjoyed the ride. Work gave out turkeys to their employees and had one, so I pre-cooked it. Angela received a phone call that made her a nervous wreck, stating that her father got killed in a car accident, so became very emotional, which was understandable. While the turkey was cooked and on the kitchen tables, Fontaine stood on his hind legs and ate and wolfed down a quarter of the bird. I looked at him. I said, "Damn you, dog, what are you doing?" Fontaine had this guilty look on his face and waving his tail, letting out gas just like Hiroshima in the bombing of Japan from the Allies. So Angela and I had some turkey, but she didn't eat much and had to fly back because of her father's death. So while chaos was brewing, I was dealing with my own issues. I get a phone call that my mother's health was deteriorating and she had Alzheimer's. While I had visited her frequently, it became more evident that her memory was deteriorating and getting worse. Richard, my stepdad, kept me updated, but it was hard for me to see her in that condition. Just before Christmas, I went down to visit her in Bristol, VA. Literally, her street was on the borderline of Virginia Tennessee state line. I looked at my mother on my visit and asked her how she was doing, and she looked at me. How can I help you, sir? When I heard that, my heart hit the floor, seeing that my own mother couldn't recognize her own son. It made me very hurt, upset, and also concerned about how Richard was taking care of her all by himself. Talked about getting her a nurse to help in, and there was one that came in to visit her part of the week. While the medicine she was taking to control the memory loss, the adverse conditions were then causing her seizure. Causing adverse conditions, the medicine dosages had to be decreased. My stress levels were getting high, and 2009 went down. It was a horrible year for me, with more stress and chaos looming with the mortgage company and these trolls. Work was also getting stressful because I was losing my bonuses working now only for commission. Still making residuals, but not consistent enough to produce a heavy income.